conscious experience cannot be measured, but it has a profound impact. It cannot be detected, right? So we don't know if anyone else, like, even if I like look at, like, if I'm assessing your consciousness, which I can do, right, using certain medical terms, I'm still using like physical stimuli. I don't know if you have thoughts. I could be in a dream right now. There's another really scary story if you want to hear it.
Please.
So I had this, this is one of my favorite stories. I've told it a couple times, but it's just super cool. So I had a patient, I was on the consult service at MGH, and we had a consult in the neuro ICU. So I'm on the psychiatry service, but we get consulted for the neurological ICU. So there was a guy who had been in a car accident, and he had been in a coma for about 2 weeks. Comes out of the coma, physical therapy is progressing well. He's expected to make a full recovery. So we got called and we're like, what's the problem? And this is something that seems like a bullshit consult. So sometimes you get these where, like, you know, the primary team is just like calling you and they don't really have a great reason, right? So they're like, yeah, we don't know. Like, he seems depressed. And I'm like, what do you mean he seems depressed? And they're like, I don't know. Like, he just seems depressed. I'm like, that's not a reason to consult us. Like, does he have a functional problem? What's his prognosis? Like, is he like crying? Like, what is going on? I don't know. He just seems depressed. And we're like, okay, fine. So I trained at a place where, thankfully, where we try to be helpful. There are some hospitals where people don't try that because they're toxic environments, but I had some awesome teachers and great, fucking fantastic hospital. So we go see him, and I go see the guy, and I try to get a sense of, okay, like, you know, what's your recovery like? Okay, so this is your wife. These are your kids. Okay, older one's 19. She's going to college. Younger one is 17. She's applying to college. You know, how's your job? Okay, like, no problems at work. You're a partner at this firm, and they've let you take 6 months of medical leave, but let me talk to the rehab person. Rehab is progressing well. So everything seems good. So I go and see this person every day for about 6 days. And I kind of asked them, like, you know, how are you feeling? And they're like, I'm fine. So on day 6, I go and I'm like, look, I feel like I'm missing something because everything I know about you, you're doing fine. Work is fine. Family loves you. Everything's great. Like, you're making a full recovery. Sounds like, you know, the nursing staff loves you, right? So he's like cracking jokes and like, you're doing well. And I'm like, what's the deal? Am I like, and if you don't want to say anything, that's fine. But this is the last day I'm going to see you. You're being discharged tomorrow. So if there's like any, like, you know, but I feel like you're sad. Just like sitting with you, it feels like there's something off. And that's when the dude starts crying. And I'm like, what is this? So he tells me that while he was in a coma, he had this whole other life. And he was like married to someone, and he had 2 boys instead of 2 girls.
Oh my God.
And he's like basically grieving because he's like, I realize that those people aren't real. But I like miss them, and I'm never going to see my sons again. I'm never going to see like that. And he's just all fucked up on the inside because it's really weird because it's like, he just woke up and he knows that this is his real life. He's like, he has all these memories, but he has all these other memories from like this other life.
And he had been afraid to tell people.
Yeah,
this.
because it sounds crazy.
It sounds crazy, but it's not.
I mean, no.
But he was in a coma. You know,
so
your mind dreams things. That's why it wouldn't sound crazy to me, but it's a wild thing.
Yeah, so you got to be careful once again with dream, because I don't know if it was a dream. Okay, so
an illusion?
I don't know. So I don't think it was an illusion. I don't think it was a dream, because dreams have certain, I don't know if this makes sense. They have certain like scientific qualities, right? So in a dream, like your feet can be gigantic and you can fly, and like objects can, there's an internal, the logical rules of a dream are not what this person experienced. It was not a dream, right? So it was consistent with prolonged memories. The other thing that's really common with dreams is you don't remember your dreams like 30 minutes after you wake up. This guy, 6 days post-coma, was grieving because he's still thinking about his wedding day from this alternate life. Like, what the fuck is that? I have no idea. Right?
Yeah.
So this is where there's some weird stuff going on that I don't think can be explained. Now, you can come up with hypotheses neuroscientifically, psychologically. My sense of having worked with this shit is that there is more to the body and more to the mind. And what I'm talking about is this subjective qualitative experience of existence.
Can you explain that?
Yeah, so you can experience stuff, right? That's not the same as like neurons in your head firing. They may correlate, but like neurons in the head doesn't necessarily equal experience.
Right.
It's just qualitatively different. So understanding happens at that level. So I think it's not even psychological. I think it's like when I work with patients, there's like this breakthrough, which is not quite mental. It's not like you can put the mental blocks in a certain order. there's kind of this weird experiential like moment of catharsis, right? We even have a word for it. It's catharsis.
Yeah.
But catharsis is not something, I think catharsis is like more than mental. Now, that's not a scientifically defensible statement because we have no evidence of this stuff, because science can't study subjective experience. It can only study the reports of subjective experience.
So what are you basing that on then, saying that? Just like your subjective opinion on it?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Right. So there's no scientific evidence of subjective experience. We only have reports of subjective experience. Right. So this is some philosophical problem. I'm not a philosopher, but do I see the same red that you see? Like I don't. But the problem still persists. That we can all acknowledge, that there's a quality of existence that is subjective experience. And when we're talking about really where understanding or jnana comes from, in these ancient, you asked me what I learned there, so I'm making my way there. So what I learned is like accessing that shit, right? So there are certain states of mind that you can enter. States of mind, it's not really states of mind. You shut off mind. Your body becomes basically inert. Your mind becomes inert. And then you're like, all you're left with is subjective experience. And then you start exploring weird shit. And if that doesn't make any sense, I can explain.
Can you unpack that a little more?
So best example I have is, so right now you're aware of your existence, right?
Yes.
Anyone at home, as long as y'all aren't driving, you can do this too. So I notice you're sitting in a particular posture. Close your eyes. What do you notice about your experience of this moment now that your eyes are closed?
What do I notice about it?
Yeah, where is your attention going?
My attention's, I was just looking at you, so my attention is imagining you saying this because my eyes are shut and I can't physically see you say this.
Okay. Keep going. Tell me where your attention is.
Again, it's still at you, and it's actually more focused at you because now I can only hear you, and so my hearing is more sensitively aware.
Okay, there we go. You can open your eyes. So as we remove one sense, your attention in the other senses increases, right? So if you're listening to a really good piece of music, or you're in that mythical state of orgasm, closing your eyes makes it better, right? Okay. Okay, so now let's understand something. So if I cut out sight, everything else gets better, right? What happens if I cut out sight and sound and touch?
Sucks. Yeah, that's no good.
Why is that no good?
I mean, talk to Helen Keller. I think she would make that trade if she had all that back.
No. What happens to your attention, right? So if I remove sight, all of your other senses increase by 20%, right?
Yeah, but like if I lost my hearing and my sight and my touch at the same time, that would fucking blow.
I'm talking about a temporary state.
Oh, okay. yeah. I was thinking.
Fair enough. Right. But so if we remove, like, so when you close your eyes for a moment, everything else intensifies, right?
Yeah.
So if you stop hearing and you stop seeing, everything else will intensify, right?
Yeah.
And then if you remove the sense of touch, which happens all the time. So I was asking you, where was your attention? You weren't really aware of where your body was. Now everyone who's listening to this is suddenly aware of where their body is. You feel that? You're aware of your body now.
I would amend that a little bit and say my focus was more on thinking where you were, but I was still aware that my body was sitting in this.
Sure. Were you more aware when your eyes were closed?
No.
Okay. So the key thing here is that as we remove a sense, our attentional awareness of the other senses increases, right? If I listen to music with my eyes closed, I will hear it better.
Yes.
So what a key part of meditation is removing all five senses. So all you're left with is attention. Now, a lot of people may think, well, then I would think about my thoughts. That's why we shut off mind too. So you shut off mind, you shut off emotion, you shut off touch, smell, taste, proprioception, sight, sound, and then all you're left with is attention. And then it goes to this like other place.
Question
yes.
on this. When you say, and I've heard this phrase used a bunch, talking about mindfulness and meditation in particular.
Yes.
When you say shut off the mind though, right? And I've never been particularly great at meditation. I'll be honest about that. The best I do is actually, ironically, in between sets in the gym.
Absolutely.
When I'm lifting, I do lifting for an hour and then I do cardio for a half hour. When I lift, I do not have headphones in. It's my time, right? And I'm very focused in between, and I will get in touch with my thoughts and have a little bit of peace. But my mind is never empty. Like when people say like shut off the mind, I've never understood that, because it's like, you know, a thought is not a vacuum. It's always going to be replaced with another thought.
I'll tell you 2 times that you've had that your mind has been empty. Okay.
Okay.
Both involving the penis. Orgasm is one of them. So in the moment of orgasm, you have no thoughts. You have thoughts before, you have thoughts after.
Okay. Yeah. Yes.
The moment. Second one, when you really need to take a piss and you first start to piss. The second most common no mind state that people experience.
I would actually also buy that one too.
Right? You're not thinking about anything.
Yeah.
So how do those states feel, by the way?
Fucking great.
So now you know what yogis are doing for years at a time sitting in caves. Right?
Pissing and fucking?
Nope. Okay. They're attaining. So here's the key thing. Pissing and fucking, important. Great question. You think you're being funny, but that's a good question. Pissing and fucking induce that state of mind. It's not the fucking itself, it's the experience of fucking. Does that make sense? And if you want to understand this, I mean, this is unfortunate, but I've had a lot of patients who are, you know, have had bad sexual experiences, which means it's not the physical act, it is the mental state that determines, right? And it can be the most, like I've seen this, it can be the most horrible thing that can ever happen to a human being, or it can be the most wonderful thing that can ever happen to the human being. But the sexual act, right? So depending on the willingness.
Okay. Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
but
okay. Yeah.
The act is identical, right? Is the mental state that determines what people happen to people. So the reason we're all addicted to orgasm is because it induces the state of samadhi. It induces a no mind state very, very briefly. And so there are some practices of meditation where when we empty our mind and we empty everything, all of our physical senses. And the reason we empty our physical senses is because many of our thoughts come from our physical senses, right? So if I go like this, you're having thoughts now. Yeah. Let's think. Oh. Right? So if I do that, like it's going to create thoughts.
Yes.
So all of our senses are going to make thoughts. But sometimes they can slow down our thoughts if you look at a sunset or something like that. I remember for me, another big one was smelling the top of my kids' heads when they were born. I don't know if you guys have ever smelled the top of a baby. I know it's kind of a weird, creepy thing.
No, it's not. It's very pure.
Yeah, like there's something about that is just, you know, really calms you down and empties you, and you're kind of like in the moment. And the way that works is we'll oftentimes use something called an alambana. Okay, this is for you. So we'll use an alambana. So an alambana is an object that pulls your attention towards it. So it is like an object of meditation. So when we use an alambana, like we're putting our attention towards something and removing everything else. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, and I think sex is a really good example because when you're doing that, you're focused. And I've had plenty of patients who are not focused and then they have trouble and they don't achieve orgasm. Like, makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So an alambana like pulls your mind in to one place. And then even, I don't know if this kind of makes sense, but even then you won't have thoughts. So if you really get pulled in, like watching a sunset is a good example. Like, so you watch a sunset, you're not technically thinking if you're really in the zone.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
But even then there's one stage beyond that, which is that still when you're absorbed in the sunset, there's you in the sunset. So you are absorbed in one thing. Orgasm, you're absorbed in one thing. Urinating out on a full bladder, you're absorbed in one thing. If you stay in that state for an extended period of time, then that will acclimatize. So now there's one more thing, which is like you're wearing a shirt, I'm wearing a shirt, but you don't feel your shirt after the first few seconds you put it on.
Right.
Right? So there's one other principle, which is once you acclimatize to that state, right? And usually we don't acclimatize to it because it's temporary. So like pissing and orgasm are like super temporary. And that's where we get to tantric sex, by the way. Because then you're extending that state for a very, very, very long period of time. And then, you know, the bliss of that moment then you go to this other place, which is basically impossible to describe. There's no vidya for it. There's only jnana. I mean, I can try, but it's not going to make sense to people, and you have to experience it.
Meaning, like, all these things we're talking about, whether it's sitting with the sunset or like the moment you got to begin peeing or something like that, where your thought has just been like, oh, I really got to go. You still have one thought, technically.
No, you don't. I really got to go as a thought. So this is where you guys got to try this at home. The moment that you start peeing, there's no thinking.
Can you define, all right, I don't want to get like too meta here, but can you define a thought for me?
Yeah. A thought is a fluctuation within the mind. That's what I would call a thought.
No matter how big or how small, just a fluctuation.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, emotions are not thoughts, but thoughts usually can have an analytical reasoning. They have some activation of like some of the verbal parts of your brain, right? So, but it is a temporary, like the thing about a thought is it's never permanent. Thoughts come and go.
That's what I'm saying, and I'm getting a little bit literal with this, but
yeah, it's good.
I kind of have to.
You have to. You should get
look
literal
at this. But like when I really gotta pee, and I've been holding it, maybe some guy was going on and talking on a stage, and I wasn't allowed to leave the room for a while. And I'm like, oh shit, now he's done, and I can go out and leave the room. Like that first moment where I start to pee, where you're like your thoughts are empty. Even if I go, that's a thought.
No, it's not.
It's not.
So you gotta test it.
Because I saw something in my head when I did that. I was like, oh my God, I'm peeing.
Yeah, but that's not a thought. You're just one with the experience. You are just a pisser. Like you're a pure pisser. There's no thinking, right? So I'll give you an example. Let's say, oh my God, I'm not allowed to leave the room. You run outside and you see there's a line. Thoughts increase.
Yes.
Oh my God, how many people are there? How many urinals are there? Thoughts go up, 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 up. Thoughts are very rapid. And then you just become, oh my God, I'm a pisser. Oh my God. And everything in your mind empties and it feels so good. And here's the crazy thing. Okay? This is going to be so hard. But if you, maybe I'll be able to explain. The key thing is you're suffering, right? So let's say that I'm waiting to take a piss. And I see that there's an exit on the highway and it says gas station is 5 miles away. So it takes me, expected time to urinal is 6 minutes.
You're a slow driver.
Fine. Okay, whatever. So 6 minutes is expected time to urinal. I'm fine with that. No problem. Okay. If next exit is 1 mile away and I exit and I walk into the bathroom and there's a line, much more suffering. Right? Even though technically the two scenarios could be the 6 minutes in both cases. Waiting 5 minutes to piss or driving 5 minutes to piss, subjectively completely different. Agree?
Yes.
So here's the key thing. I was going to ask you, how are they different? Maybe I can ask. How are they different? What's different about these two?
Because when I see the line, I've now encountered a new obstacle that I wasn't previously expecting to encounter.
That is the surface of it. What happens within you? That's the external circumstance. But in both cases, you're just waiting 6 minutes, which you can handle. So why is one harder for you?
Expectations. My expectation.
Where do expectations exist?
A thought.
Very good. And as your expectations increase and as your mental activity increases, what happens to your suffering?
It increases.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right? Oh my God, is she going to call me back? Is she not going to call me back? I texted. Should I text her again? Should I double text? Is it okay to double text? Let me ask my friend if it's okay to double text. Oh my God. My boss, are they going to see my presentation? Oh my God, my fucking coworker. They sent this presentation. I sent it to them for revisions. I sent it to them. Hey, can you guys take a look at this presentation before I send it to the boss? They looked at it and they sent it. They attached it. They told my boss, here's the presentation that we worked on. They're taking my fucking credit. The more our mind becomes active, the more suffering we engage in. The less our mind becomes active, pisser, orgasm, meditation, lifting, for those moments. And you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, I know.
For those moments.
It's all making sense now. It's
right?
Really coming home. Yeah.
Empty mind. So you asked me what I learned in India, and now you understand.
Yeah. And that was 7 years out there, right?
Summers for 7 years. So
Summers for 7 years.
And sometimes winters. But okay. I would go there, I would learn particular practices. I would come back, do those practices diligently for a year, and then I'd go back and learn more stuff.
Wow. So it's almost like programmatic in it.
100%, really, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So take me into the first summer when you went there, because at this time you're like addicted to video games. Are you like jonesing on the plane all the way there? Like, what's
yeah, sort of. But I mean, I would say first 2 weeks there were the worst weeks of my life. Just felt really incredibly alone. The food was terrible. I couldn't eat. Probably some amount of dopamine withdrawal or whatever from video games. That was not how I experienced it.
Where were you?
I was in an ashram outside of Bangalore, India, southern India.
Okay. And what was it like? Like, what, you got dumped into this. So when you get there, like, are you like, oh, I'm becoming a monk, or what's the...
No. So I mean, my experience was, so I went to the airport. So I didn't, this was before the days of cell phones. Okay. So like I went there and I got off the plane. I didn't speak the language. So I speak one Indian language, but not the one where I was going. And I remember like walking out of the airport at 2 a.m. and basically there were like a bunch of people there. And so everyone eventually left. And I was the last person there at the, like outside the airport at like 2:30 a.m. And there was one other guy who was there who'd clearly come to pick someone up. And then I just kind of like pointed at him and I was like, are you here to pick me up? And he went like this.
Is that yes?
No one knows. Right? So the Indian head bobble can mean all sorts of things. So then I just started going with him. So I just went to a car. He doesn't speak English. I don't know if he's there to pick me up. I told him my name and then he was like this. And then he shook my hand like this.
Okay.
Can you give me your hand? This is how he shakes hands. This is how people in India shake hands.
Like dead fish?
Yeah, like it's just they
That's not even a dead fish. That's a frozen fish.
Yeah, it was just really, really weird. So then I'm with this guy for about an hour and a half in the truck where we leave the city, we're going out into the wilderness, and then we like park somewhere eventually. Or no, there's a gate that opens, I remember. And then like we're like at this place in the wilderness and it's like pitch black outside because they had lost power. So there were no lights or anything. And so I go to my room. I end up in my room at around, no, sorry, I think the flight landed at 12:30. I think I was in my room by 2:30. They gave me a candle. And so I did discover that I was in the right place. And someone was like, yeah, Dr. Kanoja mentioned you were coming and you're in the right place. And let me take you
so they do talk to you. It's
not
the quiet monk thing.
Eventually, so there was someone who spoke English. Okay. So after I got there, but I didn't know, like I was like really scared and I was like, it felt right. Like I wasn't, but I was like, okay, this is crazy. I'm just got into a car with a stranger and we left town and I don't know where I am. But so then eventually there was a wonderful woman there who was one of the administrators of the ashram. So she basically took me to my room and said, here's a candle and sorry, the power's out. So I go to sleep at like about 2:30 in the morning. And then a couple hours later, I wake up to the sound of a bell and I look outside, the moon is still out. So it's like, I'm like, what the fuck is this? And it's like, is it a fire or whatever? And so I rush outside and then I see that like, I hear the sound of toilets flushing and like people like sinks turning on and stuff. So no one seems to be panicking. So I was like, oh, this is an alarm clock. So let me get ready. So I brush my teeth. I walk outside. And there's like this, I still remember because it was dark and there's no power, but there's like a little bit of moonlight. So I saw like, these groups of people like coalescing and moving down a path. So I'm like following this like herd of people when I hear, I was like, what the fuck was that? And then like, what is going on? So I'm walking down this road and I see that there's a row of people who are projectile vomiting. And I'm like, what have I come in? Like, is there some plague or something? It turns out it's a yogic practice called vamandhoti. And so that what you do is you drink a bunch of isotonic saline water. So it's the right concentration as your blood, same concentration as your blood.
You drink it?
You drink it, yeah. So you drink like 2 liters or more of isotonic saline, and then you vomit it all out.
Ooh.
And it really cleans you out. Like
I use saline every day in my nose in the morning and
that
night.
Whole neti pot thing. So there's like, you are asking about the levels of practice. So neti pot is like level 1. Sutra neti, so that's called jal neti. Sutra neti is level 2. That's where you take a catheter, you insert it into the nose, and don't try this at home or without proper guidance. You take the catheter, you stick it in your nose, and then you put your fingers in the back and you pull it out your throat, right?
Oh,
this is
fuck that.
And then you floss.
No.
It feels terrible, but it really helps with allergies and stuff.
I'll bet.
So that's level 2.
Level 1's working well.
You should not try level 2, but if you ever want more, level 2 is good.
I'm good.
Vamandhoti is level 3. Then there's a particular practice where it comes out the other end. So you start with, it's basically like an
Put
enema.
the tube all the way through your ass.
No. Sorry, you drink. No.
I could just see. Let's get through the intestine.
No. Yeah, I should have. So you drink a bunch of water, and then you basically do a set of yoga practices that force it through your digestive tract. So at the very beginning, you're pooping, and then by the end, it's clear water.
That doesn't sound bad. That's level 4?
That's level 4.
That sounds way better than level 3.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's level 4 because it's harder to do.
Okay.
So you have to drink water, and then you're also like, you're not like vomiting it up right away. So it has to go through your digestive canal. And then, I mean, you just feel like you're walking on air when you're done by the end.
You know what's interesting? In the first 10 minutes of waking up every morning, one of the things I do is drink 60 ounces of water. And like, I mean this literally, not to be funny, but like cleans out my system right away. Yeah. Like same concept.
Yeah. But do you have, you poop water at the end? Or you just trigger a bowel movement?
You're saying it literally poops water.
Oh yeah, you're pooping out. You like, when you look in the toilet, it just looks like nothing has happened. It's you don't.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's next level. Never mind.
So these are the introductory practices at an ashram. So this is like stage 1 through 4 for like everyday people. Then as you do more advanced yoga, you learn more dangerous and potent is the right word. More potent practices.
When we're talking more dangerous, like what are we talking here?
We're talking, so one of my teachers once told me that, I'm going to teach you a yogic practice if you want to learn. So you were asking what I learned this. So there's the introductory yoga, and then there's also like Kundalini yoga. So Kundalini yoga is to awaken your Kundalini and stuff like that. So these are like more esoteric practices that are more spiritually potent. So these practices, one of my teachers told me that, okay, if you want to learn this practice, we have to cleanse your Muladhara chakra, which is your root chakra. And during this practice, you have to be with me for, I don't remember if he said a week or a month. You have to be with me in the woods for a couple of weeks, let's say. And during that time, you can't see any other human beings because you're going to get hypersexual. And if there are any other people around, you're going to assault them. So we've absolutely, I mean, I've seen, there are case reports of meditation-induced psychosis. I realize now that it's probably some yogic techniques that do something like induce a state of mania from bipolar disorder. So, and then, there's a lot of overlap between like psychosis and spiritual experiences, right? So there's a lot of this stuff that we see the negative version of in mental health all the time: bipolar disorder, mania, psychosis. And there's a lot of interesting neuroscience about, like these ego death experiences that people have when they use psychedelics. Mm-hmm. Same parts of the brain get activated when we meditate, basically. So we'll have these like ego death experiences. Yeah. And so a lot of these, like the cultivation of things like compassion from the Buddhist tradition involve, and we all try to dissolve the ego, generally speaking, in the Eastern meditative traditions, right? So like we sort of figured that out a while ago. So you do these more advanced practices. They are riskier because I think they can induce like, mental health problems. That's why they're done under the guidance of guru.
And you got to work your way to it.
You have to, so there's an immense amount of these first 4 practices I told you about. Those are shuddhi, which means cleansing. So, a more recent practice that I started doing, would not recommend that people do this, is a certain kind of cleansing practice, which involves inhaling for 16 seconds, holding your breath for 64, and then exhaling for 32.
Inhaling. Whoa.
And even if people want to try a safe version of this, you can try 4, 16, 8. But if you try this, and if you want to try it now, we can. You want to try it or no?
Yeah, the 4, 16, 8. Let's start with the basic.
I'll try it. So close your eyes, sit up straight. Your spine needs to be straight, back is straight. Okay, so I'm going to ask you to inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, and hold it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Now exhale for 8, so go slow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Are you fully exhaled?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do it again. Close your eyes. Do another round on your own. So count to 4, hold for 16, exhale for 8.
All right, start now.
Yeah. We're going to do 2 more rounds. Exhale. Okay, we're going to do 8. I'm going to walk you through 8. You should do 8.
We're going to do 8.
Yeah,
what?
you can stop if you need to, okay? So you specifically
Yeah.
should do 8, okay?
Do
So
8 on the inhale.
Yeah, I'm going to walk you through it. So we're going to go 8, 32, 16.
All right,
Okay.
easy.
Okay, so close your eyes. You'll be able to handle it, okay? If it gets too much, that's okay. But I want you to experience
Okay.
that, okay? Don't try this at home, boys and girls. This is only for Julian. So breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. Exhale for 16. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. What was that like?
It was, I don't mean to be like too simple with it, but meditative.
Okay. So did you notice? No.
Why is that funny, Joe?
No.
Come on.
No. So,
right.
so meditation doesn't work for you because you haven't been doing it right. You need to do hardcore meditation, my friend. So
I did ayahuasca once.
that's not meditation.
Right.
And ayahuasca, by the way, and we can talk about that in a second. But so I want to know, when you were breathing, when you were holding, right? So between, let's say, 24 and 32 seconds, did you notice anything in your body, especially around your shoulders?
No, where I really started noticing was on the exhale, because I had to control the exhale more because it was going to be 16 seconds instead of 8. The first 2 rounds were easy.
Yeah. So if you do this practice, you will start to notice all kinds of sensations. Okay. And that's the like, so it's weird, but you'll notice like all these like, it's hard to describe, but you'll notice your prana. So you'll notice like your chi. You'll notice, like, if you do like even 3, 4, 5 rounds of this practice, right? So if you do 5 breaths, you'll start to notice like all kinds of weird, like, I don't know, like heat and wobbliness and like weird things that are not localized to physical sensation.
What do you mean by not localized to physical?
So it is not, your shoulder will not be moving, but you'll feel things around your shoulders. You'll feel things around your neck.
Oh, okay.
Right? So and I mean, we're not going to do it now, but if you try this at home, you'll understand. And so that's when they talk about prana or chi, it's not something that can be measured, but it can absolutely be felt.
Mm.
So I teach my kids this practice called the squishy pillow. They gave it the name, where we basically like, we'll kind of go like this. So do this, do this. So yeah, keep your arms at 90 degrees. Okay. Now what I want you to do is hold it there for like, let's go 10 seconds. So kind of namaste position with your arms at your elbows kind of being at 90 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
And now I want you to pull them apart a little bit. And now what I want you to do is just feel what's between it. Now move it a little bit. Do you feel the heat between them?
Yes.
Okay, so now what I want you to do is pull a little bit further. Right? You can bend your elbows if you need to, but try to stay in that zone where you feel the heat.
I can still feel some right there.
Okay, good. Now try to go a little bit further and hold on. Hold on to the heat. You feel it?
Now I'm feeling less of it.
Come in. Got it again?
Yeah.
Okay. So then now try.
That's wild.
Now come out. Come out. You can do it. Pay attention. You got it now, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Close your eyes. A little bit further. Focus. You got it still?
Yeah. I'm going to explain after, but I got it.
Okay. You feel like the tube or the pillow?
No, it's not a pillow. It feels like I keep picturing an accordion and
Yeah,
like
good.
it's following me.
Yep. Weird, right?
On the note. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see how far you can go. You feel that resistance?
I still have it in the dead center of my palm.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
You want to keep going?
Yeah, I still have it. All right, now I kind of don't feel it.
Okay, come in a little bit.
All right, got it.
Okay, you can open your eyes. So that's a really great introductory practice to give people a sense of prana. Okay, so like let's try to understand this from a neuroscience perspective. So when we're this close, absolutely you have temperature sensors in your hands, right? But when we're this far, that's a little bit different.
It's in your mind now.
I wouldn't say it's in your mind. So I think it is still a perception, right? So it's not a thought and it's not an emotion. It's not an imagination. It's a perception. You are perceiving. You're not thinking. It's not a thought. You're feeling.
A perception's not in your mind?
No, a perception is not in your mind.
Interesting.
A perception is an experience.
I thought about that wrong my whole life.
So I'm defining mind as the place where thoughts and emotions take place. Right? So it's not a thought. A perception is not a thought and it's not an emotion. Do you experience it mentally? Sure. You have experience of it. So that gets a bit complicated. But
okay.
Right, but a perception is usually like it's a perception, that's all it is.
Yeah.
So that's a perception. It's not an imagination. I didn't tell you what you should feel, right? So I told you what the breath cleansing practice. I've given some people a sense of suggestibility, so maybe that's flawed. That's flawed now, right? Because I said this is what you should feel, or this is what you may feel. I said you'll feel some stuff around the shoulders. You remember when I said that?
Yes.
But with this one, I didn't tell you what you should be feeling. I just said, hey, look for something, and then you see how far it goes.
Yeah, you said look for the heat.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And then you're the one who gave me the accordion, right?
Yes.
You're like, it's not a pillow. It's an accordion. Like, what
Right.
the fuck? Right? That's really weird. Like, stop and think about that for a second. You're like, no, you are incorrect. It is not a pillow. It is an accordion.
Well,
like,
that's how I was perceiving it.
There we go, right?
Yeah.
So you weren't thinking, it wasn't analysis. Right? It's not logic. It's not thinking. It's a perception. So that's qualitatively different.
I've never separated the two. That's interesting.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you're separating it, so now I'm going to separate it.
Yep. And that's just because we're not mentally trained in this stuff, right? So as we do some of these yogic practices, you asked what I learned. As we do some of these, so I had my introduction to practices like this, and then this is just the beginning, dude. I've been teaching you for 15 minutes. We've been talking about other stuff like motivation, whatever. So like once you start really exploring, and by exploring, like you have to put yourself through this subjective experience. You have to train your body and train your mind. You have to alter your diet to the point that, your diet is incredibly, incredibly pure.
Yes.
And even the water that you breathe, the water that you drink, the air that you breathe, you have to be in the right location. So there's a reason why yogis live in the Himalayas. Like the power of meditation there. And I'm not talking about like, alterations to your neurochemistry. I'm sure that shit happens, but your subjective experience is insane. When you go to a spiritually concentrated place and you sit to meditate, it's not something that can be understood. It can only be understood. It can't be explained. But like what you felt an accordion, there's all kinds of other shit. Right? There's like places you can go. That's the best way I can describe it. And like, that's like, you said you felt an accordion. Well, like people don't know what the fuck, but dude, this is just like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And so as you really get into this stuff and you train your body in the right way, as you start using the right accessories.
What's that?
That's Rudraksh.
Rudraksh?
Yeah.
Can you hold that up again for the camera?
Yeah. Rudraksh.
Is that like the yogi rosary bead kind of deal?
It's a form of yogi rosary beads. But depending on what practice you want to do, you use this is the right yogi rosary bead for this podcast. Yes.
So you have different ones.
I have an old one. This is the one that I'm using ever since my midlife crisis.
What happened with your midlife crisis?
I had a midlife crisis, dude. I was like, what the fuck am I doing with my life, bro?
Was this after you were married with kids?
Oh, yeah, this happened it started about 2 years ago. So
what
I
brought
was,
it on?
success. So I started this healthy gamer thing. We're the fastest growing stream on Twitch. Got invitations to work with the United Nations, the White House, started getting recognized on the street, became the expert in certain things. And I was like, what am I doing with my life? Right. So my kids were okay. My wife was, everything was okay. But I was like, what am I doing with my life? Like, what's the point of existence?
Like you had gone past even your wildest expectations with how you could get recognized for what you did.
Yeah.
And you thought like, wow, how do I go above this?
It was sort of like, okay, like, so I had an opportunity, right? And I had a mission, which is like, I'm going to help the people that no one else is lining up to help. That's really why I started streaming on Twitch and why I started Healthy Gamer. It's like, there's just a group of people like my 19-year-old self that no one was trying to help. And these guys need help. So I started on Twitch, started helping all these people. And then, a couple years into it, we still don't make a whole lot of money. So like our services we serve a clientele that is not super wealthy, or that's how it used to be. But now I had an event at YouTube a couple of years ago where there are like 300 people there that are like big fans of our channel. And many of them have done coaching and things like that. So now we're, because of podcasts like yours, we're reaching people who are not losers on the internet. But I was also like struggling with money because I'd walked away from a very lucrative career, and having a successful startup, I was like, and then I was like, I'm still not, making very much. I make about a third of what I did when I was a practicing physician. And so I was like, what's the point of doing all this work? But I'm not making any money. And then I was like, but I didn't set out to make money. But then 6 years in, it's sort of like, okay, I haven't made a whole lot of money, but I didn't set out to make money. So I was really conflicted about that, because if I had just been a practicing doctor, I would have had a different life, right? So wrestling with that, also figuring out my relationship, I was like unhappy. I was just deeply unhappy, like even though everything in my life was going right. And that's when I sort of realized like, okay, I've been spiritually coasting. So
spiritually coasting.
Oh yeah. So for 7 years, I did a lot of intense spiritual activity between the ages of 21 and 28. And then I went to medical school.
Yeah.
And so then like I tried to become a good doctor, and I did a pretty good job, I think. Right. So I was, all of my energy was like going into medical school, ended up training at Harvard and tried to do a good job there. And then I tried to do a good job at work. And then I tried to do a good job in my marriage. And I tried to do a good job with my kids. I think I did okay. And then I realized like, oh, I haven't been like grinding spiritually. So then I started doing that about 2 years ago. And I realized like, oh, even the midlife crisis was like a call for like, okay, I've coasted long enough.
In some ways you had turned it into a habit rather than a present experience.
100%.
Yeah.
Way to bring it back, dude. Look at the balls on this guy.
I love this guy.
Well done.
That's so.
That's top tier podcasting right there.
So you had an understanding of that out of nowhere, and to bring it back to your example, there were 1,000 subconscious things or 10,000 subconscious things that kind of led to a moment where you're like, "Holy shit, I'm having a midlife crisis, and this is why."
Sort of. So I would say that there were 999 things that did not give me the answer, and then ultimately my answer was more of that spiritual thing. So I know that sounds kind of weird and it's different.
Can you explain that?
Yeah. So understanding. This is hard. So neuroscientifically, there are 1,000 decisions that then tip you over. Okay. So that's what I mean about the layers. Now we're coming back to, so like do you want to answer the question from a neuroscientific perspective, or do you want to answer it from a subjective experiential perspective?
I want both.
Right. So the neuroscience is there's 1,000 tiny decisions. Undoubtedly that is true. For me, my subjective experience of it, like, so I started going on a lot of walks, which was sort of the birth of my spiritual tether. So I just walk and spend a lot of time with, I don't listen to music. I don't listen to headphones. I just walk until I figure things out.
Love it.
And when I was really like struggling to put my life together, this was like post India, but pre-medical school. So I applied to medical school for 3 years in a row. I got rejected from 120 medical schools because my GPA, I graduated with like a 2.5 GPA, 2.6 if you round up, 2.56. And so I was like trying to figure out what I was doing with my life. And so I would just walk a lot. I was in Boston. I didn't have a whole lot of money. And I just lived in a place that was cheap. And so I had to walk 45 minutes to the grocery store. So in Boston, it would be like snowing and shit. So I'd like load up and then I would walk with my gloves and I'd take as many groceries as I could carry. And so I would walk a lot. And so I started walking again. And I think it's really, really good. I like to hike and stuff too. Like not climb as in vertical, but I'll go hiking. And so just spent some time with myself and I was like, what am I doing? Like, what am I on this earth for? And I was like, oh yeah, that's right. Like I wanted to achieve as far as I can on the road to enlightenment. And I stopped doing that. I started putting all of my like energy into material success and material happiness and like doing all the things that I'm supposed to do in life. And I was like, I've stopped striving for spiritual success.
How long did it take for that enlightenment goal to set in after you started on your journey at the ashram?
2.5 months.
Wow.
So the first 2 weeks at the ashram were the worst in my life.
Mm-hmm. And why was that? We got off that.
It sucked.
Yeah.
Like people talk about, we romanticize, I went to ashram. Look at this Dr. K coming back with all this, giving you such this, you're feeling the accordion and you're understanding and didn't realize, look at this guy is so good, man. Oh my God, he's dropping all these bombs, bro. So great. Okay. So life at the ashram fucking sucks, dude. The food sucks. People steal your underwear. Like
they steal your underwear.
Oh yeah. Like, right. So there are a lot of people there. So ashrams are also like homeless shelters basically in India where they don't like turn anyone away. Right. So there's like people that are mentally ill and things like that, like really wonderful people. So but it's like, it's not a good, so I hadn't eaten fruit in like 2.5 weeks. And one day I found a fruit seller and I was like, what the fuck? This guy has fruit. I bought a mango. I didn't realize I didn't have a knife. I went back to my room and I like tore it apart with my hands and I like feasted on it like a fucking monkey. It was the best mango I've ever had in my life. And because the food is really low, like it's actually very healthy, very sattvic, which means it's conducive to meditation. But but at the beginning it tastes like shit. By the end, it tastes amazing because your experience of it has changed. And I don't know if this makes sense, but once you start, this weird shit that we did today, once you start eating food with the same state of mind that you're doing this.
Oh, it's totally different.
It's completely different.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So I discovered this and I was like, this is amazing. I also met someone who was basically my guru for that period of time. So, and the guru taught me, initiated me into some Kundalini practices, some tantric practices, things like that. And I was like, let's go. Right. So the squishy pillow or accordion or whatever, that's just like not even 1% of the way there. That's like, this is what you can get in 30 minutes.
Yeah. The first hour.
Right.
Exactly.
So once you train for 3 months with dedication, with the right kind of teacher, like you will experience like crazy things.
Starts to click.
And then I'm like, okay, this is what I'm doing. So I went to my teachers and I asked for 2 things. One is I asked for a tantric initiation, which one of my teachers agreed to and gave me a mantra.
Okay.
So that's a practice that I've been doing for 22 years now. And the second thing is I was like, I want to become a monk. So I want to take my vows. And they said, no. They said, go back to the US. My teacher said, in order to become a monk, you have to give up your life. Yeah. You don't have shit worth giving up. Go and build something. Seriously, that's what he said. He said, go back to the US, get a doctoral degree, put 100% of your effort into professional success. And then 9 years from now, at the age of 30, if you still want to do it, you can give it up and we'll take you. They said, you can come back every year. We'll still continue to teach you, but no vows until you're 30 and you have a doctoral degree.
So you wanted to give your life to being a monk out there with them.
Yeah.
Isn't there like a vow of celibacy and shit?
Yep.
And you can't talk?
No, you can talk.
You can talk.
Yeah. I mean, there are periods of time where you mourn, which is you maintain silence. But so then I went back, met my wife, but so we got involved, but I was like, no big deal. Like I have till I'm 30. So like, this is part of what I'm supposed to do. And then, that just didn't, it's hilarious because I even told her like once we started like getting serious, I was like, hey, by the way, I'm spiritual. And I don't know if I want to be tethered to this life. I can do this for now, but my heart is over there and I'm going to become a monk and I'm going to give this all up. Okay.
Oh my God.
And she's like, yeah, whatever, bro. So she was, I'll even ask her, I was like, weren't you like Like, what did you think? She's like, I know you. You're like so full of it. Like, I knew that you weren't going to leave.
Well, also, when you were addicted to video games, it's not like you were getting box and stuff, right? You were just sitting up and playing video games all the time.
It wasn't like I was getting
like you were getting women.
Oh, I was certainly not getting women, bro.
So now you come home and you're like, this is fucking awesome. Let's go.
So that was kind of weird, because like the interesting thing, I think the reason we got together is because I decided to be celibate. So then when I would talk to her, she insists that we didn't go on a date. In my mind, I wasn't asking her out on a date. I was like, hey, do you like Thai food? I know a great Thai place. We should go get food together. And I was like completely relaxed, right? Whereas like the rest of the time before that, I was like, I'm going to get laid, right?
There's some interesting psychology.
100%, dude. Right? So like my expectations were gone, right? My thinking was clear. I wasn't like over-analyzing or anything like that. And I wasn't like invested. And I was like, hey, if she wants to come, great. If she doesn't, like, no big deal. Right? I enjoyed the way she looked. Like I wanted to go to lunch with her.
Yeah.
But I really didn't think,
like,
because
no,
I was like,
not for me.
Not for me. Right? And then what I realized is like, even my desire to become monk was fucking ego, dude. It was like, oh yeah, like since I had sucked at life, I was going to rise above life by rejecting it. She said no to me. Oh, she's a bitch. That's basically what I was doing with life. I was like rejecting you because I sucked at it, right? So it's like I'm devaluing the thing that I am bad at, which is another piece of interesting.
It's like a lot of, by the way, like if you want to look at it, I don't want to say parallel, but another type of psychology with that, you see like a lot of these like voluntary incels now who just got turned down by women. So they're like, fuck you, I'm not going to do it. In some ways, like this is similar.
So we reject things that reject us.
Yes.
Right? Instead of saying, I suck at this.
That's right.
And so even now, like people get, I respond to compliments in a weird way. So like, so clearly I'm exceptional in some ways, but I really don't feel like that. So like, and this gets weird, but it's
not weird. It's a little bit of, are you talking about some imposter syndrome?
No, not imposter syndrome. It's on the other side. So I don't feel bad about it. It's just people don't realize how stupid I am. And here's the key thing. So for me, it's a realization that even if I'm intelligent or brilliant or whatever, so I do that self-denigrating Indian accent thing when I talk about my advantages. But it's also the realization that I did nothing to deserve it. Right? So I remember I had a patient once who had a fetus that had something called anencephaly. So anencephaly is the absence of a brain. It's not like brain damage. It's like there's no brain in there. So it's not a situation that's compatible with life. And even if I have an IQ or I have certain advantages, and I'm fucking privileged, I have a great story about that. It's not like I did anything to deserve this, right? So it's not like I did anything to deserve having parents that could financially support me by sending me to India for 7 years in a row. And even if you look at things like intelligence or meeting my wife or being born in Houston where I got to like, meet my wife, like I didn't do anything to deserve most of the cards that I was dealt in life. I played my hand decent, like sure, but I also fucked up a lot.
Yeah,
right?
But after you fucked up, you improved.
I got to be honest, that doesn't track because I've seen it from my patient side, right? So I improved, but I had so many, my bench is so deep that 6 of my players could get hurt and I still have like starters on the bench, right? So that's what, I mean, if you want to hear a story about privilege.
Please.
So I just learned this, which taught me something really interesting about privilege, which is most people don't know how privileged they are, which is like by definition, because the very nature of privilege is that it's so baked into you.
Yep.
So my parents applied for me to be in the Guinness Book of World Records, and we got a certificate for being the youngest kid to go to all 7 continents. So I was 9 years old when I went to Antarctica.
Wow.
And the reason that no 9-year-old had ever gone to Antarctica, so when we were booking the trip, my mom just told me the story. This is wild. So you go and understand privilege. This is like on the next level. So we booked the trip to Antarctica, and they said, oh, sorry, no kids under the age of 12. And they said, why not? And they're like, there's no medical staff in Antarctica. So like if something happens to your kid, the nearest hospital is like 48 hours away. You got to like truck it to like Argentina or something. And so my mom is like, I'm a pediatrician. What if I bring the stuff and he's under my care? And they're like, then that's okay. So she just told me the story like a month ago. I didn't know this. So she packed IV bags. She packed butterfly needles. She packed antibiotics. She packed like this medical kit for me to go to Antarctica. And like, that's insane, man.
Yeah.
You know, and now people go because I think the medical infrastructure has improved, but this was back in 1990.
Wow.
Where, and so it's nuts. So like when I look at what I've accomplished, like, have I worked hard? Yes. But have I worked like that much harder than many of my patients? Absolutely not, bro. You know,
I see what you're saying. It's a humble way of looking at it. And it's also, I think, you want to err on that side of being like, I'm not all that rather than I am all that for sure. But I think what you accomplished after you had great parents who also were able to give you the push to be able to get you to India. So that's incredible privilege. But what you accomplished and then immersing yourself in that and actually changing your life through that process, which is an incredible mental game to play as well, is pretty amazing.
Yeah. So I don't think about it as humble and I don't think about it as prideful. I think about it as that's what is. So this is my karma. That's really the way that I think about it. Okay. I love that lens. So it's like, I have certain advantages. I have certain disadvantages. Have I worked hard? Yes. Could I work harder? Absolutely. Yes. And you know, I am what I am, which is what I try to help people understand is that like, you're neither good nor bad. You're just you. And all of this relative comparison is like relative, but like, that's not really like who, you know, what difference does it make if I'm smarter or stupider or anything like that? What different, you know, because the important thing is that whatever hand you've been dealt in life, play it the best that you can.
Yes.
And even then, I mean, I've had so many patients that, you know, were working 2.5 jobs, work way harder than I do, are way more resilient than I am, and their life is shit.
Yeah.
You know, so it's hard to look at people who are doing such a better job than you are and end up 5% of where you ended up. I don't think ego can enter the picture. The only way you can feel good about yourself is with like ego or narcissistic thinking or whatever, right?
The only way you can feel good about yourself?
Yeah, you have to be egotistical in order to feel good. Like when you see people who are like, you know, like I worked hard in residency, but what people don't realize is, you know, you work like 80 hours a week, 100 hours a week, right? So did I work hard? Absolutely. But what people don't realize is like I have patients who will work 40 hours or 32 hours at Walmart, 32 hours at Home Depot, and then like 14 hours doing like landscaping on the weekend. Those people work way harder than I do.
Perspective with it.
Right. And so I think, and this is like, if you feel ahead in life or you feel behind in life, both are equally stupid. You just are what you are. You are where you are. Right. And like, and I know it sounds kind of weird, but like there's no alternate reality. This is what is. And so why attach your ego to what is? Like, you know, I just don't think it makes any sense.
Yeah, I think a similar, like in a similar family of what you're talking about right now is also how people think of themselves right now. So there's an old philosophical quote. I'm going to fuck it up now, but it's like thinking about the past leads to depression, thinking about the future leads to anxiety, thinking about the now can lead to happiness. And I think to focus on the people who look at the past a lot, I think people will look at the decisions they've made in the past or even just the things that have happened to them that weren't their decisions in the past that were, say, not positive. They were negative effects on their life. And I know I've fallen into this trap as well. And they'll still define themselves as those moments or as those decisions or whatever, instead of focusing on the fact that they can make changes or put themselves in a better situation or, you know, even improve 0.1% tomorrow and try to build on that each day from where they're at. You know, what do you think it is that throughout, you know, it's a part of humanity that we have a tendency in many cases when things haven't gone our way to dwell on that and then let it become who we are?
Great question. So, what have we evolved for?
What have we evolved for?
Yeah. What's the purpose of what has evolution been doing? What determines success in evolution? What is evolution selecting for? You've heard of natural selection,
yeah, of
right?
Course,
yeah,
of course.
What do we evolve for?
We're evolving towards a stronger species.
Stronger in what way?
Intellectually.
Why? Okay, what's the point? Why do we
So
evolve?
that we can progress as a community.
No. Evolution doesn't give two shits about community.
Let me change the word community there so we can progress as a species.
Evolution doesn't care about progression as a species.
It doesn't.
Nope.
What does it care about?
Survival of the individual.
Survival
and
of the
having
fittest, yeah.
viable offspring.
Yeah.
So, male lions killing the offspring of their competitor
That's right.
is not about survival of the species. Right? They don't care about other lions.
Okay, I see what you're saying now. Thank you guys for checking out this clip. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe and hit the like button on this video. It is a huge, huge help. And if you'd like to check out this clip's full podcast episode, that link is in the description below or right here. And finally, you can follow me on Instagram and X by using the links in my description below.